giving you useful and practical tips to help you make more money selling travel. This is the Art of Selling Travel Podcast, and here to guide you through it all, your host, Glenda Beagle.
Well, hey there. Welcome back. I'm so happy to be back inside your earbuds, whether you're out going for a walk, walking the dogs, doing some housework, driving off to wherever you need to be. Let me start off by just saying thank you. Thank you so much for choosing to spend the next little bit with me. Today's episode, I'm going to try and keep pretty short and sweet. It's been a heck of a last week here. We've had a death of a close family friend, so I've been quite busy with that. I almost threw in an episode that's been pre-recorded for future, but I'm going to hold it off and let this run anyways, because I was just on a Facebook group and somebody was asking something, and the word compromise is what came up. And so I thought, you know what, let me just jump on. And I'm going to record this real fast for you because it's really fresh on my mind. And so I've thought about this a lot in the last few days about the fact that we need to give ourselves grace. I absolutely could have put in more hours in the last few days in the office, but I feel like I just would have sat in front of my desk. Heck, the other day I did sit in front of my desk. I stared at my computer for I don't know how long and got absolutely nothing accomplished. Have you ever had that day? Have you ever just sat there and thought, what did I actually get done today? You know, I am not any different than possibly you or somebody that you know. Grief comes in the weirdest ways. I actually said to a friend of mine, I said, you know what? I didn't realize it compounds, and each kind of time you're faced with it, it just feels a little bit heavier. So for me, my compromise this past week was that I gave myself the grace in the mornings, and that I spent more time in my sunroom than I probably ever have during a work week. I've spent more hours curled up reading a book. And today in particular, my compromise, it wasn't even a business book. You know, there's some days I sit in there and, oh heavens, I read for hours on different sales strategies and customer service and all of those other sorts of things. But today it was, well, frankly, it was a smut book. Actually, it wasn't even that. It was so fluffy and just innocent and yeah, but whatever. I was enjoying it, and it made me happy and it made me relaxed. So for me, my compromise was, how do I rebuild back my energy without forcing things? Okay, let me talk about the post that I saw. And it was somebody that was asking, my clients have this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, this requirement. Oh, and here's their budget. What suggestions do you all have? Because I've looked at it and I've offered them, or I've got this option and this option and this option. And here is the thing that I see happen so many times. Travel advisors immediately all helping out. Well, try this one, try this one, try this one. And then everybody else had objections. Why not that one? You know, what have you heard about this one? Oh, nope. Don't do that unless you're here, and don't do that unless you're this. And so my response to it was, well, did you ask them what they're willing to compromise? Did you ask them when they give you all of these things? Okay, great. Let me work on that. And, you know, I'm going to do my very best for you, but I need to know if push comes to shove and we need to compromise on one of these things, which one are you willing to compromise on? Is it the quality of the resort? Is it the room categories? Is it the dates? Is it the price point? Which one? You know, so often I see people in sales that just take that burden on themselves, that they're like, oh my goodness, I have to figure this out. How am I going to do this? Oh, and then I see them turn to all of these Facebook groups and everybody else will give them 1,000 opinions. And sometimes those opinions are, well, you just got to tell them they're being cheap. You just got to tell them this. You just got to tell them that. No, you don't have to tell them anything. You need to ask them, what are they willing to compromise? And when they say none, And I fully get it. I've had one or two that said, no, nothing's a compromise. And I said, great, you need to find yourself another travel advisor. And I tell you the shock on their face when I have told them that. And I just said, I am absolutely incredible at what I do. And nobody will care for the quality of your vacation like I will. But as much as amazing as I am and everything else, I'm not a friggin' magician. So I need to know before I even look, when push comes to shove, which one of these are you most likely to compromise on? And you want to know something? Every single person has given me something to compromise on. Now, here's the beauty of that. One, I know which one I don't have to focus on. Guess what? Sometimes it's the category of the room. Sometimes it's the dates. Sometimes it's the quality of the resort. But 95% of the time, it's the price point. And yet travel advisors turn themselves inside out, upside down, trying to stay within that price point. You want to know something else that's really fascinating about the compromise? Is that a lot of times they say, oh, well, it's all up for grabs. This was just what I really wanted. Fantastic. So if I can get you this category, but we've got to switch the dates and increase your price point, we're okay with that? Absolutely. Or if I can get you those dates and that category, are we able to change the quality of the resort? Are we able to change the location of the resort? Perhaps what you're looking for isn't in the Riviera Maya. Perhaps it's not in Greece. Perhaps it's not in wherever it is that they think it should be. You have to ask them what they're willing to compromise, because there's something really and truly important that we always have to remember. Ultimately, this vacation is that of your client. It's not for you. You can't make the ultimate decisions for them. You have to go based on what they're willing to compromise. And instead of turning yourself inside out, trying to pull that magic unicorn from somewhere, I encourage you the next time you do a consultation to ask your client, great, now that we have all this done, which one are you most likely to compromise in the event that we need to? I'm not saying you're going to have to. I'm not saying you're going to have to exceed past or this, that, the other. But when the time comes that you need to possibly look for a compromise in order to make it all work for them, it's so much easier than having to go back to them 3 days later and be like, yeah, so I swear I've been working on it and I swear I've done everything, but I can't do this. What do you want to change now? When you set it right from the beginning and create that concept in their mind that they're going to need to compromise, instantly, they already know that you're going to be working for them and that you're taking their opinions fully into account, that you're taking how they think about their vacation as a significant part of the process. Now, the same is true whether we're talking about an African safari, going on a cruise, going anywheres in the world. Does not matter what we're talking about. You always want to know what it is that they're willing to compromise on. In order to hit that price point, are you willing to compromise on private tours? So long as we make all of your airport arrival transfers private, are we okay if the tours are maybe group tours or at least half of them? You know, what are you willing to compromise on? Because the thing is if you do all those days of work and then ask them what they're willing to compromise on, and they're like, oh, heck yeah, no, it was all flexible. Guess what? You're starting over at square one and you have to repeat all these days of work. Save yourself time, save yourself energy and effort. And I'm not saying we're taking the easy way out. What I'm saying is that you're going to take the stress out of your job in giving them the best possible vacation that they could want. Okay. Like I said, I made this episode short and sweet. What I want you to do is I want you to go over to artofsellingtravel.com/curious. Get on the wait list because Curious to Booked is going to be opening up very soon here. If you are on the wait list, you're going to find out about it first. We're going to start giving more information about what it is that you're going to be getting inside of Curious to Booked. But I promise you, this program is unlike anything I've done before. I am so super energized for it. I can't wait to see you inside of there. The other thing, after you've done that, go ahead, go over to wherever you're listening to the podcast. I would so appreciate it if you would leave a review, let other travel advisors know what it is that they can expect to learn or get from these episodes. And until next week, I will see you over on the Instagrams at Art of Selling Travel.